All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Geopolitical Trends, where truth matters. Excited to be with you as always. I got an interesting topic for you. So, there is a lot to cover. First of all, given my familiarity with both countries, Yemen and Russia, because that's what's at the heart of it. But this is more about the strategic calculations, the military dimensions, the even the global aspects of it. So, how a simple act it could change the direction of the global order, believe it or not. And but first, let me say hi. I always like to say hi to the community before I move an inch. And I'm sure you guys are okay with that, right? Farhad Razavi, good to see you. I guess taste of your own medicine is not so good. I agree with you. You got a point there. The Canadian girl, good to see you. Kigo, why not? The US is happy to push its weapons into Ukraine. Good point. And this is exactly why this topic is very, very important. Sagittarian Arrow, good to see you. Termi, good to see you. Matthias Pieri, first time I see this name here. Good to see you. Olani, good to see you. Phony 401. Ronald Show, thanks for becoming a channel member. Truth Seeker, good to see you as always. Who is Rainier Lewis? Good to see you. JC or JS. I'm sorry, JS. Veronica Letal and Locio Delgado. Here you are. Haven't seen you for a while. Army with Harmony. Good to see you. Mama said, "Knock you out." LL Cool J. I'm familiar with that song, man. Very, very interesting. Timeline Dunkley from New York, as always. Wong KC. Alci Talokin, good to see you. And Karim Hassan from New Jersey, good to see you. All right, guys, let's get into the topic because there is a lot to cover. Really, really a lot. That's why I decided yesterday, as I was reading in the morning, I decided, no, you guys need to know. I know the attack on Tel Aviv happened a few days ago, about 3 days ago or so. Nonetheless, you guys know how I do these things here. I don't jump the ship quickly and just follow the crowd. You're going to have to do methodically when you present an analysis. It's because there is a lot of moving parts into all this. So, well, before I'll get into any of the conversations, first of all, I want to just share with you some housekeeping items here. Hope you enjoyed the conversation I had with John Pang yesterday. Very, very insightful. I look forward to having him again. Also, remember to join me on the 27th for my conversation this month, of course, for my conversation with Carl Za and Jerry Gray. Both of them, I already set it up, but I didn't send them the link yet to access the studio. I will do that soon. And on the 28th, I will do the community conversation. It falls on Sunday. And yes, I'm willing to spend that time with you because that's the right thing to do. It falls on Sunday, so I'm going to do it on Sunday. And please make sure to stay till the end because I want to give you today an update about my Asia trip. And there's a few things I need to share with you. So please just stay to the end and we go from there. There's one thing also I want to share with you, which was a comment from Land Grab in India. That's the screen name. And you said, and I wrote, geopolitical trend. Most of the subscribers who subscribe to your channel have been banned permanently. Take me for an example. Do you guys know why? And please make sure you check your subscription to this channel here. And I found out, please, YouTube, if you are listening, there is no reason for why you unsubscribe my viewers from the channel. There is no reason for that. So let's just be civil about it and let people express their opinion, express their comments, and they have the right to do so. So I'm saying it politely. If YouTube, you guys are listening to me here, please allow the subscription of my viewers to stay, and no need to delete their comments. It is greatly appreciated, and it's the right thing to do. So thank you for bringing this up, and please make sure, guys, to check on your subscription to the channel here. So. All right, there is one particular aspect here, very, very important developments, and I'm going to start with that first before I'll delve into this topic. And I'm going to just show you a picture here. So what are you looking at? You're looking at the Chinese Mr. Wang Yi between sort of, this is the negotiations that the brokered the deal. China once again brokered the deal between the two main factions inside Palestine. You're talking about Hamas and you're talking about Fatah, the Fatah. That's to those who speak Arabic. Those are the two rivals inside Palestine. So which is a big deal. It is big deal if you only understand the dynamics of the Palestinian politics. I'm not going to get into all this. I'd be happy to do a live stream for you about it. We'll talk about it later. But for now, suffice it to say that is China once again is able to broker a deal on something that is so complex, where the US failed. Big deal, I'll say. So, all right, let's get into our topic here, and we're going to be talking about now, there are two moving parts to this. One of them has to do with the recent attacks inside Tel Aviv, which is a big deal. So, and I'll tell you why and share with you all this. Second part of the same conversation, but not from that angle, is whether the Russians are going to move forward with arming the groups in Yemen, which to me, it's a foregone conclusion, given where the information is coming from. Now, there are those who do not know that the statements was stated by the Russian president during the St. Petersburg Economic Summit. Okay. Second thing, it was the confirmation yesterday, which I will provide you the link from the US intelligence community's assessment. As a matter of fact, there is a high-ranking US general now asking Russia not to do it. What the heck makes this general thinking that the Russians are going to say, yes, sir, we will not do it? After all, what we are doing against the Russians, it's just common sense, but also it's the stupidity of our military leaders, or the politicians for that matter. That just doesn't make any sense. And this is why, guys, we need to think about the key questions. And I'm going to share them with you here, because this is something that very interesting as far as the development of it. And again, I had a chance to spend time in Yemen, but also wrote a book about Russia and understand these dynamics, even in the book. And I'll share with you an excerpt from the book. So, but let's ask the questions first. And the questions are as follows, because here on YouTube, you only allow 200 characters. So those are not all the questions that I have. And I kept a copy here. So first question is, how concerned is the US? It is very concerned. Very. Despite what you hear, oh, we don't worry about the Russians giving the H group in Yemen the advanced missile. No, we are. Second question, are the US, Israel, and UK trapped in an unwinnable war or conflict? Third question, are the recent attacks on Tel Aviv signal a shift into the conflict? Fourth question, are Israeli targets now exposed? And the last question, which I need you guys to pay close attention to this. I am not going to give too much, but I wanted to really push your thinking. Is history coming full circle? So just try to think in the past and you link it to what's going on. I'm not going to answer this question for you because I want you to reach that conclusion, and I know you can. Okay? Those are the questions that we ought to consider as I provide you this brief analysis here, or detailed for that matter. It's because there are a lot of moving parts. Well, let me start first. I'll start first with just the idea of the attacks on Tel Aviv. We're talking about the heart of Israel, which is probably, it's not a laughing matter. Doesn't matter. When there are human laws, I understand the argument, but it's not a laughing matter. So, and I don't do that. It's just where the concern not a concern, where the idea is now. If the age group or any entity is able to hit inside Tel Aviv, that tells you something. What does it tell you? That the air defense system inside Israel is not as strong as it might have been perceived, which makes it now an open target. And this is exactly what the H group did this morning by announcing we have, and I'll share the link with you later on all that. This said, and I read the article in foreign language, it says we have a bank of targets, which means we have a list. They are exposed. That is to me where now, as I asked the question earlier, is now the attack on Tel Aviv signal a shift into the conflict? In other words, now the age group has announced that there is no rule of engagements anymore. There are no red lines. It's an open conflict. And if I've learned something out of all the years that I spent in Yemen, there is one thing about this group: they don't bluff, and they follow through with what they said, which in my opinion, guess what, guys? They put all the Muslim countries in shame. It's because it is a group that is able to, of course, the age group has the type of weaponry needed for something like this. And I'm going to detail even the types of weapons they have. So the recent attacks, as I said, send the shock waves now, exposing the failure of the Israeli defense system, because that's what it is, And against the backdrop of the US and the UK failure in the Red Sea to defeat the age group, the Russian president's, of course, announcements makes now the US and the UK jittery, for that matter, and Israel for that matter. Because why? Putin's announced his willingness now to go ahead and arm the age group, which in my opinion, guys, as a geopolitical analyst, the way I see it, is a strategic move. It is a strategic move on parts of Putin. So the only thing that is worth, it's not the only thing, one of the key things we need to really keep an eye on is now how the strategic calculations now is going to change for all concerned in the region, for everyone in the region, including the Saudis. Do you guys know that the Saudis now reached out to age group right away by saying we have nothing to do with what Israel just did in the Hudaydah port, because Israel went ahead and bombed one aspect of the Hudaydah port. So the Saudis are concerned. Saudis are playing both sides, by the way. Makes you wonder, how did the Israeli plane get to Hudaydah? They had to go through the Saudi airspace, which means what? You don't have to be a genius to figure this out. It's simple. You allowed the access to your airspace. The same thing Jordan does. This is why Arabs or those Muslim countries, they talk more than they act. This is why the H group put the entire Muslim world to shame. And I'll say it. I don't shy away from it. And this is where you have to think about. Let me first of all share a map with you, because you need to see where the locations are. You need to see the distance between where Yemen is and Israel, which is about 1,295 miles. This is one of here is the map here. And the idea that the group in Yemen was able to send the drone all the way there to Tel Aviv tells you the story about maybe the air defenses in Israel is not as hyped as they might have you believe. Okay, this is one here, and I have another one. If I can pull it up right here. This is a map right here. This is the Bab al-Mandab right here in this area. This is Sana'a, the capital. The Houthi rebels are a group that is in the north, and Israel is right here. So there's Jerusalem here, and of course the Tel Aviv and all that is that. So this is the distance we're talking about here. It's just to put things in perspective for you, because you need to understand geographically speaking. Well, here is the thing. The bulk of the H group arsenal, it's made up of different types. I got a list for you guys with the pictures here. I'm going to share it with you and provide you the translation, because it is written in Arabic language. To those who speak Arabic, you will be able to read. It says جانب من ترسانة الحوثيين من الصواريخ المضادة للسفن. This basically a partial weaponry or missiles, anti-ship missiles that the H group possess. So let me provide you as you look at that picture. The second and third picture, it's called what does it called? Let me hold on. Let me get this one here for you, so this way you guys can see it. Because it's very, very interesting to understand those dynamics. Why? It's called al-mandab, which means the translation for it is the mourner, the mourner. So the picture number 6, that's called in Arabic, it's called the hold on, because I have the link for you guys here anyway, so you could take a look at this later on and you can read it yourself. All right, let me. I'm trying to get to the original article, which is written in foreign language. So the first one you're looking at it, Rubij, which is a Russian defense missile system. This one has about 360 kilometers. Okay. Second one is al-mandab or al-mundib. Al-mundib means, which translates to the word of the mourner. This one, this type of missile, is about 40 kilometers. Okay. The second one and third one also, this is about 300 kilometers. Now, here's the interesting thing about the mourner. This one is, believe it or not, is a Chinese-made missile, an old type. I looked at the record for all this and I found out. So it's the same thing. Saudis have some Chinese type of missiles that the Saudis bought from China without the knowledge of the US. No. Number 4, you're looking at a missile called Sayyad, which means hunter. This one is about 800 kilometers and it has the Iranian technology in it. Number 5 is about also 800 kilometer range, and it's called Quds, which is Jerusalem, that is. Number 6 is called Sajil, which is about 150 kilometers. Sajil is called the Shale, Shale. Okay. Number 7, this one's called Muhit, which means the ocean. However, this one is a Russian made, but they didn't disclose the range of this missile. And by the look at it, it's a long one. That's all I can guess. I don't know the exact distance of this one. Number 9, this is about 500 kilometers. And number 9 is called Abuse. That's the name of it, Tenkil. Now remember, those names have a meaning in the Arabic language, and especially with the last one. And the last one is called Mayun, which is a dialect in Yemeni. Those have significant names. So my point in all this is to highlight to you that what the age group now has, the type of missiles, they are within capability. That's why it's open. The Israelis didn't realize they are getting into a conflict with a group that, first of all, doesn't fear death, and second, is far strong than they can even intimidate. Even the US and UK made a mistake thinking they can intimidate. And you know how we try to intimidate? Since the beginning of the attack against the age group in the Red Sea, we have launched 800 missiles. Yeah, 800 missiles. But we weren't able to defeat them because they're still standing there. And this is where the idea of, when you consider what now the Russians are considering, will be a major. We're talking about some anti-ship that can even, and I'll go as far as saying this, destroy or sink in an aircraft carrier. This is why we don't have certain type of assets in that part of the world. We have them far out. So this is another example that a picture of what the H group possesses. This type of missiles is Iranian missile. So now, when you think about the earlier picture that I showed you, by the way, which I forgot to mention to you, I need to share this with you. It says right here on the right in Arabic, it says the ballistic missiles, and also it says the Sawarikh cruise, it's cruise missiles. So the first 4 pictures, those are cruise missiles. The last 5 pictures, those are ballistic missiles, which simply means that the H group possesses ballistic missiles. This is why now they are comfortable in saying, by the way, the Israeli targets now are exposed, because the H group will retaliate against the attack by the Israelis on the Hudaydah. At the same time, the H group in Lebanon has just bombed through, using missiles and rockets, Galilee area. So then you have the third group, which is, this is why I don't think so. I am becoming more convinced. I don't think so. The Israelis think through thinking that the U.S. is just going to step in. Well, yeah, U.S. is going to, of course, step in, but they didn't realize that you have now 3 groups. Okay, you have the H group in Lebanon, the H group in Yemen, and the Islamic forces in Iraq. Yeah. This is something that they didn't consider moving forward. So when you have all those 3 groups, the other one is called the Islamic resistance factions in Iraq. You got now 3 groups: H group in Lebanon, H group in Yemen, and the Islamic resistance faction in Iraq. All of them will be attacking Israel from different angles. So it's problematic now. So when you add now the Russian announcements that they're gonna be arming, remember, in this kind of, just to give you an idea, guys, the wording of all this, Russia is not gonna come forward and say, we have provided the H group this type of weapons. Of course, it doesn't work that way. Suffice it that the intelligence community right here in the US, when usually we'll make an announcements like this, of course, it serves 2 purposes. One is either to rally the masses and say, see, we told you the Russians are bad and all that. Or second is that it get the confirmation that the Russians will indeed arm the group. I lean with the latter, that is a foregone conclusion that the Russians are going to move forward. We will only know it once we start seeing certain type of ships being synced in. That's when you realize they've been in possession. They, H group in this case, been in possession of those type of weapons. And remember, some members of the H group have been spotted in Moscow in the last 3 weeks. They're not going for tourism. They are going there to address these issues as possible. I had a chance to read up an analysis by a retired brigadier general inside the region. His name is Munir Shihadi. So, and what he argued, and he makes a point, is that the H group will likely to respond now to the strike by the Israelis on the Hudaydah port in Yemen. Just to show you where that port is, by the way, guys, I don't know if I have it. Yeah, I'll share this picture. The port of the Hudaydah is in this area here on the left of Sana'a, right here. This is Aden, and the Hudaydah will be in that area. That's where the port. It's access to water as well. So, and this is why you are now realizing it's just a matter of time before the H group start launching its drones and its missiles, because it has both the cruise missiles and the ballistic missiles. So Israel is going to be in a bad position dealing with all this. But my focus here mainly on what the meaning of if the Russians, or when the Russians move forward and send those particular weapons to the H group. So I had a chance to read an article by Ollie Smith, and I will provide you the link for it. So I read it in its entirety, makes some valid arguments, some valid points, especially when it comes down to the Russian anti-ship missiles that they will be on their way to the H group. So Well, the argument is that the Russians, as I said, it's a foregone conclusion. No matter what you hear the West saying, to the point, as I told you, he was a U.S. general that is now reaching out to Russia, asking them not to do. Who the heck you think you are? After all what we did to the Russians. And I don't think so. The Russians, as a matter of fact, the Russians just now used a Kinzhal. You all know what a Kinzhal is, right? And they bombed one particular location in Kharkiv where it has about 50, listen to this, 50 foreign instructors, military instructors, including 18 Brits. Rightly so. What are you doing there? I remember when I went to the Ukraine, and on my way, and I ran to a British guy. I knew he was an SAS, and we just chatted briefly, and you kind of know the lingo, the language. And I was like, what are you doing here, man? Oh, he said, we have some humanitarian aid. And I said, oh, so you're doing a survey. So I went along with it, played along with it and all that stuff, which was sort of stupid on his part to assume that I didn't know. And right there was thinking in my mind, like, what are you doing here, man? So, and that's what the Russians just did. So, but suffice it to say that now when the Russians move forward with providing the ships, those anti-missile ships, this is why the US and the UK couldn't defeat the H group. So, because remember, the H group is already backed by Iran, which is not a secret. Yeah, it's not a secret. It never was a secret to begin with. And now both the US and the UK ships are targeted. We couldn't defeat them. And we won't be able to defeat them. I am telling you here from my experience, being on the ground and so with my own eyes, is the same arguments I've made in Afghanistan. The H group is far worse than the other group in Afghanistan, as far as how fierce they are. They're fighters. Death doesn't scare them. They don't fear death. So, because here's the thing, what the media is not disclosing openly is that more than 30 ships have been damaged by the Houthi, by the H group. So 2 of them were sunk. And this is why I'm saying, from the Russian perspective, this could be a strategic move, really strategic move. It just is a tactic. You, the West, providing all the weapons, including France, Germany, UK, you got the idea, Canada, and all the rest. Even, what's the name? South Korea is providing ammo. That I found out. All this. What the Russian tactic is saying, well, you're providing all this one to Ukraine because you're giving them the green light, so we will do the same on a different level. It's because what we are providing, we're providing absolute weapons. Yes, absolutely. It's all. So it doesn't, even the Abrams tanks that are being targeted right on the spot. The Russians jammed the communication and just bombed the hell out of that. So the weapons we have it's not holding up. So, and this is why when the West is saying to Ukraine, we give you the green light to attack inside Russia, what do you expect? And this is why I'm saying it's a foregone conclusion that all Russians now needs to do is go ahead and send those type of missiles or any other type of weapons to H group and maybe some other entities. I won't even be surprised that the H group in Lebanon will get some of that through a third party. So this is what I see moving forward. And that in itself, like I asked the question, is going to change the dynamics of the conflict in the region. First of all, it will widen it. The second thing is going to keep the US and Israel and the UK entangled. Germany it's useless. France is useless. The rest of NATO is useless anyway. Take Hungary out of that picture. The rest of them is just there's no explanation for it. But this is what I see moving forward. And the US will regret Because what the age group in Yemen is going to be able to do is they will not differentiate between this is American and this is British, whatever. All the West is collective. If you are in that part of the world, you're going to be hit. Straightforward. And this is why now the U.S. intelligence community officially revealed this statements, and also the American embassy in Moscow confirmed the presence of the age group members in Moscow. I kind of knew about it back then, but I didn't want to even talk about this topic at that time because I was making sure the information is accurate before I'll come on the air and share this with you. So, and this is when I see now, moving forward with these decisions of the Russians, it will significantly now put not only the age group in direct confrontation with the West, but also Russia from behind the scenes. So, and this is where I asked you that question earlier. You all remember, right? What was the question? Is history coming full circle? What did I mean by that? Can anybody put one word you will know? You've been around now long enough to know. And just think. I really want to test your knowledge in this. And allow me, if that's okay with you. You know, when I said, is history coming full circle? What was I referring to? Just one country. You need to mention one country. One country, and I know you understood what I'm referring to here. Because I know you do. I know you know. There is no way you will not be able to know this one here. I'm scrolling through the chat box, guys, here to see your answer. Because very, very, very important. Cuba, no. Vietnam, no. Germany, no. Iraq, no. Japan, no. No. Remember, the question pertained to Russia. That's what we're talking about. But it's not Russia. It's a particular country where this came, as I said, history came in full circle. We did the same in reverse. I know you know it. And I just want to, no, not Ukraine, not Iran, North Yemen. No. I know one of you is going to get it. Oh, whoa. Got it right here. Afghanistan. What am I referring to here? I am referring to when we armed the Mujahideen back then. The same setup Russia is doing now. That's why I said history came in a full circle. And the way the Russians find out is when their helicopters just to be shut down by the shoulder missile, anti-aircraft shoulder missiles that we provided, Stingers. Is the same argument. That's what I'm saying. Just pay close attention. History came in a full circle. Now is the Russians' turn. They're going to be providing. This is why in setting like this, you as a country never disclose, I'm going to be providing this or provide. No. It doesn't work that way. You let the results, when you start seeing the ships sinking, when you start saying even helicopters, being taken down, that's when you realize there is something else going on. That's exactly what the Russians are doing. So I knew one of them we know. It's because this is part of how it works. And that shows how ill-conceived our foreign policy moving forward. Because we got amateurs in Washington not thinking in a long term. I mean, you think about it, guys. If we couldn't defeat the age group, how can we take on China? How can we take on Russia, North Korea, Iran, you name it? Even, listen to this, guys. Even now, Marcos of Philippines is now wanting to have diplomacy with the Chinese. It's too late. It's because maybe he came to his senses that if a military conflict breaks out, Philippines is going to be going down first. But it's too late for that. It's too late. No. My point is just to highlight to you, with the move of the Russians in this fashion, it shows you that this is what I call a strategic move. In geopolitics, this is the smartest thing you can do. And that shows you how thoughtful a leader can be when he or she thinks in these terms. Russia is not coming and confronting the US directly. No. They'll state the statements, which what the Russian president did, but there are other means. The same way we did it back in the 80s when we decided, along with the Saudis, by the way, and I wrote the book about Saudi Arabia and I detail all this. It was the Saudi funding. We only provided weapon and training, but the Saudis funded this. Saudis had their own calculations. This is why I'm saying Saudis are playing both sides here. That's why they went ahead and reached out to the age group immediately, because even the Saudis couldn't defeat. Saudis brought in the Arab coalition that included Jordan, Morocco. I remember we drew its forces later on because they realized it's a lose battle to begin with. And even with all that, the support of the West, because it was the US that was providing intelligent targets to the Saudis. Even some flights, the Saudis won't fly in. We were. And remember, I was inside there. I kind of aware of what was going on. And we couldn't defeat them. So now, things get into a different setting with what the age group is going to be doing. Like I said, the targets inside Israel now are exposed. Because this really, the attack in Tel Aviv, exposed. You're talking about the heart of Tel Aviv. I am not surprised because I argued this about 5 or 6 years ago. Should ever Israel decide to attack Iran or some other of its affiliates, you're going to be seeing a shower of missiles and drones and rockets on certain locations in Israel. And that's exactly what is happening. So once you start seeing images of ships being sinked or targets inside the, this is an example of a long-range ballistic missile. This one belongs to the H group in Yemen. Yeah. So it's called Burkan 3. Burkan, it's Arabic for what you call volcano. So I want to show you also another type of former Soviet Union missiles that the H group possesses. This is the NK-52. To those who are familiar a little bit with the weapons or whatever. So, yeah. And this is the Zupij. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing it correctly. The Russians one. Those are Russian made. No. This is a naval. Another word, the equivalency of a torpedo. That's what it is. Zobij. That's the name of it. So, and all this dynamics, like I always say, in geopolitics, nothing happens in a vacuum. All this is happening within the context of what the Russians just did. They just did. I couldn't talk. What they did recently, it was that this is the ICBM, on July 5th of this month, which is what, 2 weeks ago or so. What they end up doing, they end up testing another ICBM nuclear tipped. Preparedness is the message. Think about that and think about the announcements. All coincided towards the same and one objective. And that objective is we will make history come full circle by now arming this saying just age group in Yemen. I am sure there will be more. This is a parade inside downtown. I was in this area here. I remember I went to this mosque because I wanted to ask how much it cost to build this mosque. And I was floored to find out how much it cost. This cost about $800 million. It was donations from the Arab world. Of course, the former president Ali Abdullah Saleh, another, he was shrewd, but he wasn't good. He was wishy-washy, like most Arab leaders. To me, it was like, well, why would you build an 800 million mosque when the country is starving? And he ended up naming the mosque after his name. You all know that stupidity. That's what it is. But anyway, this is a parade of the type of missiles inside Sana'a. This is the capital there. That's what it is. So the whole idea, guys, I want you to understand, and this is why I wanted to mention that coming full circle in history. It's exactly the same scenario we did back in the 80s. It is being repeated right now. And all this comes within the context also of what the three countries, Russia, China, and North Korea, have decided to do as far as the port they're going to be building together. So now there is another dimension you need to consider. When the Russian president said during St. Petersburg, because I went ahead and digged for the quote. Like I said, the president's not going to come and say it directly. You have to understand how to read the language. When Putin said, and I quote, "The response can be asymmetrical, and we will think about that," end of quote. Just to make you think. And that's exactly what the US intelligence community ended up doing from that time till now, and confirmed. And this is why the US general wanted to go ahead and ask the Russians not to provide these weapons. And again, what an arrogance. What makes you think that you have the right to go to a country and dictate to that country what to do and not to do after what we've been doing to them? Now, there is another dimension that I need to highlight to you as part of my own analysis about this, and this one has to do with Iran's nuclear program. All this doesn't happen in a vacuum. With the new president, which, by the way, he already stated his position regarding Israel. He ain't gonna waver away, and he intend to push forward with dealing with Israel militarily if it's possible, if it comes to that. But that's not what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about the Iran's nuclear program. And this is why, with the idea of how Russia is playing on this is the game of geopolitics. This is where shrewdness comes in, which our incompetent politicians lack, because look who's running for president. Literally, if you are an American, you're going to have to think twice who you're going to vote for. And even if you vote, our system is rigged. It's corrupted to its core. When you have the electoral college that decides for you, wait a minute, who gives you the right to decide for me? That's a conversation for another day. The idea is that Russia has already spooked the American officials now. Why? After ensuring its sort of engagement with both North Korea and Iran, and at the same time securing assistance from China with the Russian defense industry. It's all about strategic moves. You all remember the saying, the geopolitical chessboard. Well, the Russians tends to be good at that. They're good at chess game. And this is why, by the time the age group in Yemen receives those weapons, it's going to wreak havoc, not only against the UK, against the US, but also against Israel as well. Mark my word on it. I don't see any other way. It's because the age group, knowing what I know, they're not going to be thinking twice. They said what they're going to do. And like I said again, put the Muslim world to shame. The Arab leaders, what leaders are they? So shame on them. Yeah. And this is why, by the time the age group received those advanced anti-ship missiles, it's going to put them in a different position altogether. So, And I do not foresee a good thing coming up for the US and the UK. UK is gone. UK is collapsed. UK is collapsing. Its economy is bankrupt, but it is collapsing. Sad for the average citizen. Always, guys, always remember, compassion for the citizen, not the damn government. That's how I believe in it. So here's the thing. Even our Corella, his name is Corella, I believe. Corella. He's the commanding general of the U.S. in Central Command in the region. Sent a confidential letter. Yeah. And the letter to indicate that, well, I gotta warn you that we are failing to deter the Red Sea attacks. In other words, they put in it in a very nice soft touch. Basically, all this means we are failing to defeat the age group because it's kicking our butts. That's basically what it is. You put it into that formality. Of course, I understand. But that's what it means. US, and he even added, and I quote, US service members will die if we continue going this way, end of quote. This is exactly remind me of what General Crystal, if you know who General Crystal, it was back as the head of the special ops in Afghanistan when he wrote the article on a Stone magazine, I think, or Rolling Stone. And Obama at that time yanked him out of the position. Why? Because General McChrystal spoke the truth. I admire the guy. I know of him. I was there, but I didn't work under his command. I wasn't working under the command of the military. I was separate from that. My thanks were going directly with the White House. It's just different setting back then. But you give the guy credit. Took stand. They end up yanking him out. Shame, which is exactly what's going on right now. And this is why to go back to the attack on Tel Aviv, because they're all parallel, it highlights now the weakness of the Israeli defense system. If a drone gets all the way to the heart of Tel Aviv, that's it. Suffice it to say, even if your system is this good, all it took is one incident, and exactly. That's it. That's all it took. Like I always say, guys, in an international relations context matters. That's all it was. No interception from the Israeli defense system, nothing. And the drone made it all the way. And by the way, we spent about 800 missiles. You know how much it cost to launch one missile? We're talking about a substantial amount of money. That goes between $650,000 to $1 million. It's a waste. Yeah. And the only thing is that what they don't want to admit, Israel in this case, or the US for that matter, is that the new drones the age group is developing, they bypassed the Israeli aerial defense system. That's the proof. Exactly what happened. And this is why, and I, like I argued in my book, and I told you I will share with you an excerpt from, I think when I wrote it in this book here, in the Iran book, because it's more tied to that than, and I wrote it back then. Back then, the tensions between Saudi Arabia and Iran were at the height because we were promoting that. And what I argued back then is that during the height of the attacks against Yemen by Saudi Arabia and its Arab coalition ally, and the US and the UK. By the way, guys, Germany was sending weapons. UK was sending weapons. Canada was sending weapons. France was sending weapons. They didn't care about starvation. They didn't care about, because Yemen is one of the poorest countries in the Arab world. I mean, when you go there, you see the poverty, but wonderful people. And they didn't care. You bomb them, you drop the bombs on innocent civilians. They have nothing to do with the conflict. And that's abhorrent. And it was during, by the way, this was before 2014. That was even during the Obama time, which is shame. So here's what I wrote. Iran could have, listen carefully, guys, Iran could have intervened militarily in Yemen when the H group, a Shia rebel, came under attack. Yet, Iran understood early on that it was in its interest not to send ground troops, but to provide military, financial, and logistical support to the H group. The conflict reflects a regional struggle between Sunnis, at that time leading by Saudi Arabia, and the Shiite led by Iran. Saudi Arabia has been leading a Sunni Arab coalition against the H group, supported by Iran. The objective is to restore, back then, to restore to power the Saudi-backed Yemeni president, Abdurrabbu Mansour Hadi, which was a puppet by the Saudis. To its detriment, the Saudis have been unable to defeat the H group. Similarly, the ongoing sectarian violence in Iraq at that time suggests that it is unlikely that the Sunni will ever gain again power against the land between the Tigris and the Euphrates. That's where, this is where the difference is. And I'm gonna put a link for you guys. Even an article that I wrote back in 2015 on April 7th, I argue back then that the United States must be very careful how it formulates its foreign policy when it comes to involving not only these two countries, meaning Saudi Arabia and Iran, but also the greater Middle East. This region is a powder gig, and is no place for reckless, chest-thumping American politicians on the left and the right to be tossing politically lit matches. Yeah, they have no right of doing that. Here is the link to the article, guys, if you ever wanted to read it. And I will highly recommend it, so I'm going to put it for you here. When I used to write for the Huffington Post. And my arguments for all this was the idea that, you know, what the Russians decide to do and what the H group just did by targeting Tel Aviv, it gives you the idea where things are. I usually don't talk much about the H group, and you know, I'm aware of some other places they address in this, but it's because there is it's so complex. To me, if I do 1 hour, I'm not doing you justice. It's not enough for you to understand the ins and outs. But at least for this particular angle, I decided to do it for you. It's not I'm ignoring it. It just I have to pick the topics that, first of all, will make sense to you, and second, you'll be at least within the 1 hour 15 grasp the context of it and gives you an idea. So it's mainly educational purposes, and also to expand your geopolitical horizons in understanding the dynamics. And this is exactly one of them. This is really one of those moments when you realize if a leader has a strategic thinking or not. On our part, of course, we didn't have a foreign policy for the last three or 4 decades, so it's not even worth mentioning. UK or Europe is not even worth mentioning. As a matter of fact, you will be thinking now that the next American president, whomever that is, doesn't matter, Trump or not, but hypothetically we go with Trump. You know, you're gonna have to think about what kind of relationship is going to be between the transatlantic. Europe is so weak. It's so damn weak. You look at now this Ursula von der Leyen, whatever, just won the second presidency. How the heck? Where is the voices of the European people to decide? Same for us here. But, and I don't talk domestic politics and all that stuff. I focus on the geopolitical aspects because that's a much bigger picture, because it decides on sort of shaping the trajectory of the global order. And this is what I need you to understand. So you'll be a step ahead in understanding where the trajectory is headed, where things are headed. So this idea of, for example, the expansion of the conflict inside, or, for example, China brokering a deal among the factions of the Palestinian factions, Those are big deals to understand where things are headed. Or NATO's expansion into Asia. What the heck? What are you going to Asia for? Or the EU making arrangements or agreements between with Japan and South Korea. Australia. I just read a comment from someone inside Australia. He mentioned to me that if you identify yourself as from Asia, you could lose your job. You know, are the Australian government brainwashed beyond belief or what? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So anyway, this is what I wanted, guys, to highlight to you, to understand this within the big picture, because without understanding this, it's not gonna make sense to you. And especially if I am to think about now what the H group is gonna be doing. You know, like I told you last time, this Arab coalition by the Saudis was unable to defeat the H group. Because the last time, I remember, historically speaking, using history as my guide, the last significant Arab coalition that came together, sort of really united, whatever, it was back in 1967. What happened in 1967? Does anybody know? Again, I want to test your historical knowledge here. What happened? 1967, Arab coalition against whom? You guys, once again, you should know this one here. Because again, it shaped the history, the trajectory of where things moved forward. And I am sure you will know. Let me see. I'm going back to chat box here to see. Yeah, we got over what, 15,000 people. Yeah, one of you will get it. There is no doubt. There is no doubt. Oh, hairless 8. You got it. It was against Israel, 1967. That's the only time this coalition came up. And by the way, the outcome was decisive victory for Israel. Arabs talk too much. There's no action. Except now that the H group exposed this Arab weakness. Here is H group taking stand against the US and UK. They couldn't defeat them. They won't be able to defeat them. I'm telling you this from experience, as one who's been on the ground. There is no way they could defeat them. The same thing we did in Afghanistan. No other way. So, and this is where I see these things moving forward. It's not going to bode well. This is again why the Saudis went ahead and reached out to H group right away, saying we have nothing to do with it. They are scared. They are scared. They are so scared. The Saudis. So. And they play in wishy-washy. You know, I'm aware. Let me just say it this way. Mike, my word on this. You will read between the lines. Mike, my word on this. There are communications between Saudis and the Israelis behind closed doors. So, and this is why you need to understand the dynamics and the reason why I wanted to do all this one here. So. And I'm going to answer some questions from you guys here and then wrap it up. By the way, I need to say thank you to so many of you guys who've answered the call for the Asia trip. And I am very, very grateful to all of you. Yeah. And I'm going to share this with you, again, with no names, because I was asked by the individual. Not to disclose the name. Someone donated about $500 in support of the Asia trip. So I am very grateful, and I want you to know I am in the preparation. I am working on things. There is someone else behind the scenes. I'm aware of the scammers, by the way, just to let you guys know. I'm aware. I sometimes, what happened with that person way before. He didn't realize that I was playing along. So it's so easy to triangle the call and trace where things are. But anyway, we don't think negative that way anyway. But I wanted to take this opportunity, guys, to really, really say thank you to those who answered the call. Hang NG, I can't thank you enough. Hang NG buys me coffee every day almost now, or tea. This is for tea. By the way, guys, for those who wants to support Asia Trip, please do that on the site for support Asia Trip, not support the channel. Those are two separate platforms. One is for the channel. This one I'm talking about is for specifically for Asia Trip. This is what your donation, your support is going to be used for. Now, the other ones, that's for the channel. That's separate from that. Even though there are some of you who have donated money on the other side and mentioned Asia Trip, which I will make sure to take that money out of there and put it right here and add it to this, in addition to what I receive through PayPal, like this individual who donated actually twice. One time was $200 and second time was $500, and it's going to be used. The $200 was for the channel, but the $500 was specifically because I got the request that they will be used for the Asia Trip. So Delta Plus, Zhu Liang, someone is Chris, Ocean Place, William N. There's just so many of you guys, and I wanted to just say thanks. It means a lot. It means a lot to me. That's let me see who else here, because I'm gonna do this quickly here. Eric, Flor Reed, and thank you for sharing your experience when you visited China. So I0807, Jenny, thank you so much. Sam, Daniel, Hang NG, who is next? Yeah, so many of you that donated for the TC Kwan, Osiris, Zhu Liang, the Boone, Abbas. There's so many. There's so many, and I am very, very grateful to all of you. And I wanted to let you know. Let me share with you where we are as far as so far as what have been raised thus far. And I'm gonna share the screen because I like transparency for you to see. Here's the amount, guys, where we are, and I will post it in the video later on. So that's where we are. Now you add $500 to this amount. It's not directly on Buy Me Coffee, but that's where we are. So I'm very thankful. And as I said, I am working on stop sharing here. I am working on preparing the plan for the trip, the locations, and so forth. Where is my other? Yeah, and I will finalize everything within. It's going to take me about 2-3 weeks because you have to organize all this. I do know I am not flying in soon or in early August. I'm not, because summertime. I want to stay till about September time because I don't like to travel in the summer. That's just my preference, and I've always done it this way. But I am working on different locations. Depends again if we reach the target amount, that will for sure allow me to. I looked at the map, even for a trip from hypothetically, let's say Indonesia to Philippines, or Philippines to China, or China to Indonesia, whatever. Something into those effects, I'm able to pinpoint locations and all that stuff, and we just go from there. So, Francis Tango, hey, by no means, I would love to have you, Francis. You're right, Doctor. Can I also join the Asia trip? By no means, if you are in that part of the world, and once I confirm the dates, whatever, you guys will know. I'm gonna figure out of how you will know that, and yes, I will do live stream. And I'm going to seek permissions from all countries, whatever I am, and just the right things to do. So, all right, let me start answering some of your questions here. And oh, that's very, very interesting. Thank you for sharing this. Have a nice trip, Dr. O. You should go to the ancient Qin state where China was unified. Wow, that will be very interesting. I did find out that the historical museum in Shanghai, very, very important to visit because it highlights the history of, because there is a French quarter inside China, inside the Shanghai, which, by the way, if you go back to the 18th century, mid 18th century, the French were present there. So what the heck French is doing there? So yeah, of course, I will do that. I will do that if I end up in that part of the country. Oh, Ramples, which one is that? Can you text me or write the name here? Just show me the name and I'll take care of it. Yeah, bots. They have nothing better to do. That's pathetic. Gateway, Adarsh, I have not decided yet the dates. I'm still working the logistic. So I have not decided yet. All right, let me see here. A new comment. Okay, let me. Abhi, are you visiting India? No, not in my plan. That's the question from Abhi. Maybe one day, but not yeah. Okay, let me see a question from you guys, and I'm gonna sign off because I have an interview in Washington D.C. with critical hours. So, all right, question. Atin Wu. The Saudis said they wouldn't allow Yemen to use their airspace attack Israel. Then, how did the Yemeni drone reaches Tel Aviv and struck some? Did the Saudis? Well, remember, I showed you the map here. The easy way to do it is you go through, since they control the Red Sea, you'll go through there. They don't need to go over Saudi Arabia. That's one way of doing it. Because remember, one thing you guys need to know, the US and UK do not, and I repeat this, do not control the Red Sea. It's the age group that controls the Red Sea. That's why the shipment went down by, what is it, 30, 50% or something like that? Yeah, the US and UK are not able to do it. So, okay, let me see another question here. Rabia Burak. Oh, Rabia Burak. Doc, your analysis is always awesome. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Truly appreciate you. Okay, let me see another question. I'm scrolling up, guys. Taiwan still, by the way, make sure you're here for the community conversation because I got a surprise for you about the Mustang. So, okay, let me see another question. Okay, I have to go all the way down because I don't see any here, guys. All right. Yeah, I don't see any here, guys. So I'm gonna sign off here. Oh, no. Before I sign off, I need to say thank you to Ronald Cho for becoming a new member of the channel. Thank you very much for your support. I also, Lee Man, thank you very much for your super sticker. I'm very, very grateful to you. Stephen Hayes, here you are. The group, you all know what that is. And around best strategy. Sign up every American and EU government officials and media for shopping account on all the emails that come with. They will never recover. I agree. The age group is not your average. The age group is not your average. And again, I saw things with my own eyes, and I'm not talking hypothetically here. So another thank you for your super sticker, Stephen. It is another super sticker from you. Thank you so much. Dr. O, like the movie The Prestige, Hillary secretly built Nikola Tesla cage into US Naval Observatory. Now her basement is filling up with camellias in glass boxes, some frozen in mid. Yeah, I used to, when I lived in this area, I used to go near the Naval Observatory. That's usually where the vice president the home is. So, Francis Tango, thank you so much for your super sticker. For Nazi Grin, fried rice. The army eat fried rice. I do intend, by the way, guys, even though I don't do this, but I usually don't eat outside a lot. But one thing I'm going to do in an Asia trip, I'm going to eat street food. Why? Because they cooking right there in front of me, and there is no frying oil and all that stuff. They cooking that flat thing that is so hot, and I intend to eat that stuff. And I already checked a few things, and all they do is like this crust thing with veggies, and that's a healthy food, and I'll eat it. So I intend to do that. But I did also see that there's Starbucks there, there's KFC there, and which is ridiculous. I hope people don't eat that kind of food. I ain't good for you. I ain't good for you. So, all right, guys. I thank you so much for being here. I wish I can stay longer with you here, but I need to go sign off so I can go prepare for my upcoming, interview. Remember to join me on the 27th. But in the meantime, I am gonna look, and I might do another live stream for you tomorrow. We see. But for Saturday, my conversation with Kaza and Jerry Gray, and on Sunday, our community conversation, which I didn't post yet. I will do it as soon as possible. Once again, appreciate all your support, donations for the Asia trip, for the channel, to those who decided to buy my books. They are the two of them, right? I don't even know where they are. Right here. If you decide to, that's also this. I am going to use those purchases of the books. I'm going to incorporate them into the Asia trip. That's what I do, because that's what I want to use the funding for, strictly for that. So, and depending, again, once we reach that target, of course, I will keep you posted on almost a weekly, daily basis, whatever that is. Then we'll just go from there. So as always, guys, remember, geopolitics impact your daily life in more ways than one. Till next time, bye-bye.